to you. So today I will just share some of the things that I did in my class, the implementation of gamification to first year petroleum engineering students. So there is a word first year there, and I'm not sure whether this one is applicable to all level of study, whether it's second year, third year, final year, because most of the approach or the games that I apply is suitable for their age, their first year, so to motivate them and also to encourage them when they enter the undergraduate studies. So basically, there are two terms, game-based learning, GBL, and also gamification. If we look at the general definition of GBL is the use of games to enhance the learning experience. And there are two types of games basically, the digital games and also traditional games. For instance, digital games now we have a lot of apps and also a lot of computer games. For instance, in our field we have oil game, which relate to petroleum engineering and also geoscience. Traditional games, it can be, for instance, Wheel of Fortune, like Roda Impian that we used to watch when we were young, when I was young. That one is kind of traditional games that we need physical things to play the games. And there is a term called gamification. The gamification is the use of game elements and we implement it to non-game environment. For instance, the game elements are points, level, leaderboard and also rewards. So we take these particular game elements and we apply it. For instance, in this class, whoever attended the class will get some points. So that is the game elements that we can implement in our class. So the idea of my gamification in the class, it took the whole period of time. If let's say I'm teaching alone, I will implement it for the whole 14 weeks. If I share with other lecturer, I will implement it for 7 weeks. So how I do it? Initially, I will form the group first. So they have to sit according to personality, according to their gender, races and everything, so that the group will be balanced. And then I will conduct some ice-breaking activities. And one of the activities that they did is they need to come up with this kind of logo or motto, and they have to present to the class. So there must be a rationale why they choose the logo. So this is an example for it. If I'm not mistaken, this one from last year, January 2017 semester. They come up with logo, they present it, and then there are also some other ice-breaking activities. And I will directly give points to them. So they will get some points, the initial points. So once they finish this activity, they get the points, then I mention to them, they will need these points to be used for the rest of the semester. For instance, they get 1,000 points. And then I mention to them, for the next class, if one of your team members did not attend the class, I will deduct 100 points from 1,000 points. So in a way, I encourage them to communicate with their team members before they come to the class. Make sure you text each other, especially the morning class, 8 a.m. class, so that they are aware that their members are awake to go to the class. And also, it can improve their communication and also teamwork with the team members. So this is the initial one. So along the way, during lecture, during lab time, I will implemented a few games. For instance, this kind of game I implemented during the lab session. So there are a few puzzle pieces, and then they have to share it with others, and then they need to solve it so that everybody will have their own piece. And then when they get the piece, they turn the pieces, and then they have to answer the question at the back. So they somehow recap on whatever that they have learned previously. Another activity is they need to answer some questions. If they answer correctly, they will get some points as well. If they did not answer correctly, they will not get points. And I ask them to develop something, a structure or whatever. And then, for instance, this one, I ask them to develop a structure that can secure an egg. I give them egg, and then they need to drop it from the second floor. But in order for them to get some materials and everything like the straw, extra paper, they need to answer questions. and then they need to get some points. Another thing, I also ask them to develop rig structure by using Lego pieces, and also if they need more Lego pieces, they need to answer more questions. Another thing is by using QR code. QR code generator, I generate a few questions, and then this is the scavenger hunt or mini treasure hunt that they need to go in the building, second floor, first floor, or even the ground floor. They need to scan it, and then they will get some hint to get some pieces, and also some instructions, some hint to complete the questions as well. So this one is very complex activity, normally at the end of the semester, where they can relate all chapters that they learn. These are some of the pictures of their work. These are some of their points. I show them, for instance, group 12, group 18, how much they have in their bank account and how much that they can spend and everything. So that is the example of it. And in the, these are sample of the questions. In the classroom, I implemented a few online games. For instance, Kahoot is famous. Everybody use Kahoot. And I also use Socrative. And this one is Flip Quiz, whereby the students will be competing against each other. There are a few categories of questions and also a few points. If let's say they want to challenge themselves, they will pick, for instance, 500 questions. And then if they answer it correctly, they will get 500. If not, they will lose 500. Usually I use this kind of game to recap whatever that I have taught in the class at the end. And this is also, I make it gamified. And another similar to Flip Quiz is Jeopardy as well. So there are also other websites that can actually help us to create a lot of things. For instance, crossword puzzle here. This one is Educa Play. It's very easy to use and also free. Crossword puzzle, interactive map, jumble word, matching game. So we can develop the game ourselves. Just log in here and then put the questions, and they will generate for us. For instance, this is the one, the crossword puzzle that I generated by using this kind of websites. Other than this, we have also Philologus UK, and they have a few games as well, quite different with the first website. But the one that I love to use is Class Tools. It looks quite old website, but they have a lot of interesting things. For instance, this random name picker. When I conducted active learning activities such as tips, taking pressure, or other activities, I asked for volunteer, but there is no volunteer. So I opened this one. I already set up the names of the students. I just click spin, and then they will stop at whoever names that come up. So if they don't want to volunteer, this is the way to make sure that they will share something. And also, I can make some games from this one as well. Like, let's say I put money. So they can come to front, and then they can put 500 or 1,000 or whatever money that they want. I give them a question, and then they can answer it. They get that amount of points to be used. And last one, the most interesting one is the online game here. There are a lot of games inside here. reviewgamezone.com. By using this one, you can create your own question, add new tests, and then you will they will ask you to put a lot of questions here, objective question, and then they will generate the game for you with your questions. For instance, I have already put my questions here, and then I can choose from here. Let's say I want to play Heroic Ends. So I just click it here. Oh, there's no adopt. Okay, never mind. Okay, let's say this is bouncing balls. Can you see? You can see the icon, right? Before the students can play it, there will be a question prompt for my question that I just put before this. And then they need to answer it, and then they can play the bouncing balls. And then if they fail to reach certain point, they will need another question to answer to move to another level or another life. So you can go to reviewgamezone.com, and there are a lot of games, not just related to my subject like PE or geology, math, science, even geography. There are a lot of games, but I cannot really show it because there is no Adobe Flash Player being installed. So probably you can. Oh, can, yeah. Alright. So for instance like this, hero ends, I press start. So this is the instruction, then start. So this is my question that I put just now. So the students need to answer it. They can do it in pair or in group, and then they have to answer it correctly. And normally I ask them to memorize the question, and then after that I give them hard copy questions about similar thing like this. For instance, I answer this one, this is the answer, and then they can play it. They can play this kind of games. Okay, that one is not that good. So in order for them to play again, they need to answer another question. Okay, they need to answer another question. So it's the questions are incorporated with the games as well. So sometimes I have the target. For instance, the best. For instance, we have 10 throws. So I play it myself. If let's say I can get the distance of 30 kilometer, so I ask them to beat me 30 kilometer. So in order for them to get that 30 kilometer, they need to play, and then they need to answer questions repeatedly. So that kind of thing will actually enhance them to answering questions and also play this kind of games. In terms of the result, I can compare the absentees when I conducted gamification and also the one without gamification. This is the comparisons of 4 different semesters, September 15 until January 17. The improvement when I implemented gamification, the absentees actually reduced from time to time, because if they did not attend the class, the marks will be deducted, so they don't want that kind of thing. And also in terms of performance, I conducted pre-test and post-test, and this one is from January semester. Number of A students and A minus increased after post-test, after I conducted the gamification, and also after they play the games, because they answer questions so many times. So it's actually helped them to memorize the questions. And also these are some of the surveys from Google Form. I give question like, I like it when my lecturer use GBL teaching and learning. About 69% said yes, and also 21.7% said agree and strongly agree. So it close to 90% already. Oh, it's 90%. And these are some other questions that I asked them. So they really enjoyed when I implemented this gamification and also GBL in the class. And to enhance them, to make sure they really understand about the subject and everything, I also gave assignment and also asked them to develop game themselves. And this is one of the project or one of the game that they developed in one semester. And then I asked them to create questions for this one. If before they play, this is the normal snake board game. Before they can play this game, they need to answer questions. So if they answer it wrongly, then they cannot throw the dice and they cannot move. And then there are some rewards of it. So another thing that I included in my class, actually, I gave sticker. I print out a sticker. If one activity, for instance, Kahoot, the winner of the Kahoot will receive that sticker. Another quiz, flip quiz. The winner of that flip quiz will receive stickers. the use of that sticker is to encourage them to participate and answer questions correctly. So at certain point, for instance, in week 10, I ask them how many stickers you have. For anybody that have 10 stickers, you don't need to answer quiz number 2. So they automatically get full mark. So that kind of thing encourage them to always participate in the class activities. So I think this is some example of this semester, this current semester, the name of the group, the team members, and also some points that they have collected until now. Normally in the beginning of the class, I will show this scoreboard so that they know how much points they have and how to improve, and then what is their standing at the current semester. For instance, this group, they need to work hard to compete with another group in order to get more points. So this is the example of the scoreboard. I think that's all that I can share today. Thank you very much.
Do you have games that, because a lot of these games, they do not have the topic or the educational topic in it, isn't it? It's not.
Yeah.
Something which is educational. Do you have any which have?
Yeah, I do have, but the one is online. The oil game. Very specific game that they need to know their knowledge on geology and also some drilling knowledge in order to locate which.
Difference between their interest, the students' interest of these games, like that?
We actually debated about this quite a few times with other people. When we implemented something in the class, the students' response are very good. They mentioned they love it, the motivation increase and whatnot. But I haven't tested with another person to test it for me. I even conducted personal interview with them. Of course, they will answer things that are positive because I'm their lecturer. But the real reason whether they really like it or not, I'm yet to find out because I'm going to hire somebody to do the interview for me, the current semester student, so to get their feedback, because I'm not the one who will be interviewing them. So let's see the response. But most of the response is positive response. It's too good to be true, but we can try to see this semester.
So basically, this is to encourage them to get interest in
Yeah,
the subject.
with the subject.
How about learning? Will they learn? I mean, like the games are there. You can play for the sake of playing.
Yes.
For example, to answer this question, to go to the next stage.
Yeah.
In a normal game, naturally, when you play, you want to beat something.
Yeah.
So the natural move or motive of you playing this one is to score higher.
Yes.
But here the question, to answer a question. The question
Yeah.
is academic, boring, because
Yeah.
they don't want to answer questions basically.
Yeah.
Unless the game is so interesting that you want to play the next
Okay,
game.
yes.
So what is and then in that scenario, will there be a learning?
Okay. The first time I conducted it, I realized that one, because the students will answer or try the questions just for the sake of answering and do the activity in the class. But when I did every week, multiple times, so they need to answer about the similar question 4 or 5 times. So they will remember how to really answer that kind of questions. And the advantage or the beauty of my subject is the final exam question will be objective. So there's no subjective question. So that's why when they answer multiple times this about the same question, I just rearrange the sentence, rearrange the answers, options. They can answer it very well when they have tried multiple times. So in that sense, they learn and they can memorize how to answer it.
Memorization is one thing, but
Yeah.
you want them to only memorize as well. But if things change, will they answer it? Like if we are giving them these are first year students.
Yeah, first year.
Questions. We want to examine what is the objective, the outcome at the end of the day. We want to examine their memorization capability or
Yeah.
the memory or what are they?
This subject is, I can quite say, 80% memorization. Yeah, that's why.
Actually, the course is
Yeah.
about memorization.
Yeah, that's why if let's say I have another lecturer with me, they taught for first 7 weeks, you can see the attendance is getting poorer and poorer. And then because the subject is, I can quite say it's quite boring. I interviewed student before this, they said the subject is boring. We need to memorize. It's like history lesson, so they need to memorize. So to motivate them, that's why I implemented this kind of
things. If
things.
that's the case, how can we use it for other courses? Other courses which require, for example, less memorization, but
further thinking, yeah.
and working.
Yeah, that's why I'm yet to discover that one. So probably next year, I'm going to ask my HOD to assign me second year subject and third year, which require a lot of application rather than memorization, and see how the difference. That's why I personally put the first year. It's suitable for first year, but I'm not sure about second year, third year, or even higher. Yeah. Yes.
How about other research papers on the same topic, gamification? Is there anything that relates to other courses?
One research paper regarding the implementation of gamification in workplace and also during training. For instance, we have cooperative learning, active learning.
Yes.
They put it gamification.
That works.
But in the class, most of them are first year. But there are also some papers study on second year and third year. But I'm not sure how they implemented it really. So to duplicate that kind of study, probably we need more collaboration and communication with them to see how. But for me, for first year, it works, and probably in certain subjects, not all subjects. Yeah.
So the students actually this is like the full classroom thing. Because the students need to read everything before they come to class, and then in the class they got
activities. Yes.
And they must have knowledge already. So meaning that
they need to. Yes.
Work on the class. So it's always like that.
It's always like that.
So meaning that in the previous, or if you don't follow this gamification, you would be lecturing non-stop, basically, like relating the...
Yeah. But that one, only one semester. And then after that semester, I found out that I cannot use this traditional teaching to teach this subject. So that's why I tried to find what to improve. That's why I implemented this since 2015. The first year I entered UTP. Yeah, so only one semester I taught by using traditional teaching, and I can quite say it doesn't work. The students find it boring, and even attendance, I cannot motivate them to go to the class.
How about the team member when you are teaching there, for example, week 1 to week 7, let's say he was teaching or she was teaching at a particular time. What do they do in a class if there is no gamification? Just lecture.
Just lecture, and also for January 2017, we try to compare my gamification and also flip learning. So she did flip classroom for 3 weeks. And
but just now, I was asking you, this is kind of gamification using flip classroom.
yes,
But
the activities are gamification. Gamification, yes. But that one is really, they need to watch the videos, and also
what use they don't need to watch.
with my implementation, they need to read, and also they need to discuss at night before the class. But team based. This is team based. All right. Okay. Okay, thank you very much.